Hello everyone, I'm Neha Sharma, Assistant Professor at Institute of Information Technology and Management. Today I have come out with a topic from human resource management, that is selection. So in the previous video I talked about recruitment. Today we'll be talking about selection. So let's understand what is selection of employees in the organization, and what exactly is the process they follow for selecting or choosing the best employee, best candidate for the vacancy in the organization. So the definition of selection, it says that it is a process of choosing the right person for the right job. It involves a series of steps by which the candidates are screened for choosing the most suitable persons for the vacant job. It actually leads to employment of workers, employment of employees in the organization. Now, selection is being termed as a negative process in contrast with positive nature of recruitment. Selection, as we say, it is a negative process because it involves rejection of unsuitable candidates. More candidates are rejected rather than selected in the process of selection. It involves several stages to weed out the unsuitable candidates for the job under consideration. And recruitment, on the other side, is a positive process searching for the prospective employees, and selection is a negative process because it involves rejection of unsuitable candidates. Recruitment is basically the first phase that takes decision on choice of tapping the sources of labor supply. That's it. And selection is on the second phase, which involves giving different types of tests to candidates, interviewing them in order to select the suitable one. So this is just the basics of selection and how it is different from recruitment. Now we'll study in detail how and what exactly is the difference between the recruitment and selection. So we are clear with the definition. Recruitment is the process of searching for prospective candidates for the vacant jobs in the organization and making them apply for the vacancy in the organization. Selection, on the other hand, is uh, basically choosing the right person for the right job and offering them job in the organization. We have already discussed how selection is a negative process and recruitment a positive one. The aim of recruitment is to attract more and more candidates for the vacant position, whereas the aim of selection is to reject the unsuitable candidate and pick up the most suitable one. The procedure of basically of recruitment, it only notifies the vacancies that are there in the organization through various sources. Whereas in selection, the firm asks the candidates to pass through number of stages, such as filling a form, employment test, going through interviews, and all. So that is basically the difference between recruitment and selection procedure. Now in recruitment, we talk about there is no contractual relationship is created. It only implies communication of vacancies to the prospective candidates in the market. That's it, through the sources of recruitment. Selection, it follows recruitment and it leads to a contract of service between the employer and the employee. Here, there is a proper agreement between the employer and an employee that you are my employee and I am your employer. Selection recruitment is basically a simple process where there is no restriction upon the number of candidates, and you just just ask the candidates to apply for the vacancies. Whereas selection is a little bit more complex procedure as compared to the recruitment, because here only few candidates are to be selected for the position, and they have to undergo a process of selection where at every step you need to weed out the candidates. So it is a little bit of a more complicated process as compared to the recruitment. Now let's understand the significance of selection. How important is selection within the organization? Stable workforce. I would say a proper selection and placement in the organization will actually lead to a lead will actually allow a person to stay in the job in the organization for a long time. It will build a long way towards a stable and a more suitable workforce in the organization. It will also keep the rate of absenteeism and labor turnover very low. It also leads to competent employees to show higher efficiency and enable the organization to achieve its objectives efficiently. It helps in building up the committed and more sincere workforce in the organization. It builds up the morale of the employees because they are satisfied with their job. And finally, the rate of industrial accidents will also be low because suitable employees are placed on the right job. Right people are placed on the right job who are capable of doing that particular job. So, chances of accidents in the job will be very, very low. So these are some of the significance and importance of having a good selection procedure in the organization. Now let's talk about the process of selection or the selection procedure in detail. But before that, let me tell you, it varies a little bit from organization to organization. So the first step, as I always used to say that so there is a difference between recruitment and selection. So recruitment is the first phase and the selection is the second phase. So the first phase, when we receive all the applications from the recruitment process, there the recruitment ends and from there the selection begins. So the first step is after receiving the applications through the recruitment process is screening of applications. Now screening of application is basically it is like generally what happens in brief we just go through all the resumes and applications that we have received from the recruitment process, and it helps us in eliminating the totally unsuitable candidates like lack of certain requirements in education, training, or experience may determine unsuitability. So, the candidate who clears the interview, who clears the screening test, is asked to fill up the application form. Otherwise, they are rejected completely from participating further in the selection procedure. So the next step is the people, those who are selected based on their applications, the basic criteria they are fulfilling. So now they will come to the third stage, and rest of them are rejected. So the third stage is the application blank form. What happen is the candidate is provided the application form. It can be downloaded from the website of the concerned organization, or you may ask, or you may be given the hard copy of the same by calling you in the organization, and thereafter you will be filling up that application form. And generally, it involves the written record of your qualification, your experience, your other qualities, and your hobbies, maybe. So application form, it should be as simple as possible, and it incorporate questions about the suitability of the applicant for the job. The application form is actually useful for several reasons. It gives a preliminary idea about the candidate to the interviewer and helps in formulating questions to have more information about the candidate. The written information about the age, qualification, experience, etc., may prove to be of greater value to the interviewers. It makes the processing of applications very easy since there is uniformity of filling the data in the application form by all the prospective candidates. Fine. So the people, those who are selected, those who are chosen based on the application form, will further go to the employment test stage. Now, here employment tests are widely used to select people for various jobs in the organization. Now, these tests helps in matching the characteristics of individuals with the vacant job so as to employ the right person for the right job. There are different types of employment tests like intelligence test, aptitude test, efficiency or proficiency or achievement test, interest test, personality test. So we'll come out with the details of these tests in the next slide. So there are some of the employment tests which are conducted by the organization uh, to find the suitability of the candidate for a particular position. The next is employment interview. Now, after an applicant clears the test which is being given to him or her, he or she is called for the final interview. There may be one round of interview or maybe two or three rounds of interview. It depends from organization to organization. The interview is taken by maybe the HR manager of the organization, or maybe in the form of a panel where HR manager along with the departmental heads are there, okay, or maybe representatives from that department. So it varies again from organization to organization. The interview is to determine the suitability of the candidate and to provide him a complete picture of the responsibilities associated with the job. Employment interview is basically of a great importance both to the applicant as well as to the employer. So there should be proper physical arrangement for the interview. It will enhance the reputation of the employer and give confidence to the candidates that they are in the right organization. Privacy and comfort should also be not forgotten to ensure that the objectives of the interview are achieved. If it is not done, then there would be wastage of money or interviewing, and type of candidate may not be selected as desired by the position as desired by you. So now the people, those who have cleared the interview, maybe one round or two round depending upon the organization, now they'll finally go to the reference and background check. Rest of the candidates, those who are not selected in the employment interview process, they will be rejected. Now, under reference checking, many employers request names, address, and telephone numbers of references for the purpose of verifying information and gaining additional information about the applicants. Basically, in practicality, previous employers, known persons, teachers, and university professors can act as a references for the organization for their candidate. So prior to final selection, the prospective employer normally makes an investigation on the references supplied by the applicant and undergoes a more or less a thorough research into the candidate's past employment, education, personal reputation, the financial condition, police record, maybe if any. So these are the things that the organization may persuade him to the candidate to do so by giving an assurance that the information provided by him is will be treated as completely confidential. So after the candidate clear the reference and the background analysis, finally the selection decision is being taken whether to hire that candidate or not. And after that decision, if the candidate is selected, then he or she may go for the physical examination, otherwise rejected. So physical and medical examination is given to the candidate to ascertain basically their physical capability and protect the employer from employing physically unsuitable candidates. So medical test is given by the medical expert appointed by the employer, and the advantages of this physical examination is basically right candidate with good physical capabilities hired for the organization. It also protects the organization against the claims under workers compensation laws or act for damages, and it also prevents communicable diseases entering the organization. So all these precautions are being taken by the organization, and they offer the medical examination to the candidate. And after that, finally a job is being offered with the required salary, with the required responsibilities and duties to the candidate. The candidate may accept the offer, or may reject the offer, or may go for the negotiation. If it depends on the candidate as per the offer. And finally, the employment contract is done if the candidate accepts the job offer. So when the candidate has cleared all the above listed hurdles in the selection procedure, he's finally given the appointment letter and is requested to join the organization. And when the employee reports to the duty, he is given some sort of orientation, and he's being placed on the job for which he is appointed. So this is a brief selection procedure which most of the organization they follow in the corporate world. But yes, it may vary from organization to organization a little bit. Now, as I said, we'll go with the employment test in detail. So let's identify and let's understand what are the different types of employment tests the organization may come out with for the candidates to select their suitability for the position. So individuals, the candidates, they differ with respect to their physical characteristics, their capacity, their level of mental ability, their likes and dislikes, and also with respect to their personality traits. So these differences among the individual candidates can be analyzed with the help of various psychological and trait tests. Now, these tests can provide important information about the candidate as regard his intelligence, his aptitude, interest, personality, etc. So, various types of tests available to match the characteristics of the candidate with the requirements of the job have been listed, like intelligence test, aptitude test, achievement test, interest test, and personality test. So let's study. So the first is intelligence test. Let me tell you, these tests are basically to judge the mental capability of the applicants. They measure the learning abilities of the applicant, that is, ability to catch or understand instructions quickly, easily, and also ability to make decision and judgment in the job. So there are various verbal and non-verbal intelligence tests that are constructed by the psychologist for different jobs. So intelligence tests are widely used in the selection of personnel for almost every kind of job, from the unskilled to the skilled one. Next is the aptitude test, also known as the cognitive test, motor test, or mechanical aptitude test. Now, aptitude test, it basically means the potential with which the employee has for learning the skills that are required to do a job efficiently. So it measures an applicant's capacity and his potential for development. So aptitude tests are basically the most promising indices, I would say, for predicting the candidate's success in the job. Cognitive test, it measures mental and intellectual aptitude, whereas motor test, it measures the physical dimensions such as manual dexterity or hand-eye coordination. Now the next is achievement test or proficiency test. It are basically designed to measure the skills which are already acquired by the candidate. They are also known as performance test or proficiency test and achievement test. So a trait test takes a sample of individuals' behavior, which is designed as a replica of the actual work situation. And it is different from an aptitude test. An aptitude test measures the potential of the applicant to learn skills required on the job, whereas achievement test, it actually measures the skills that are already acquired by the candidate and is claiming for those skills. Next is interest test. It identifies the patterns of interest in the candidate, that is the area in which the individual shows a special concern and involvement. Now, these tests will suggest what type of job may be satisfying to the employees. They are often used for vocational guidance also, and they help individuals and candidates in selecting occupations of their interest. And the last is personality test. Also, projective test. It is because it actually shows your projection and interest towards certain things. So personality test, it probes the qualities of an individual's personality as a whole, the combination of all the interest, aptitude, usual mood and temperament of an individual. It is very difficult to devise and use a personality test because they are concerned with discovering clues to an individual's value system, his emotional reactions, his maturity, and all. So it is not that easy to identify such traits because it only gives us the clues with respect to the overall characteristics of an individual. So these are some of the employment tests which generally the corporates they undergo when they wanted to choose the suitable candidate for the job in the organization. Now, these are some of the interviews. There are different types of interviews which the organizations conduct. So, candidate has to undergo variety of interviews, maybe in the same organization for the same job, or maybe it varies from organization to organization. It also varies from job to job. So the very first type of interview is preliminary interview. It is basically to find out the worth of a candidate. It should be conducted very carefully by some expert to avoid desirable applicants being eliminated at the outset. It is just in the initial stages. Next is background information interview. Now, this type of interview is conducted to get the background information about the candidate. It is useful when the history of the applicant has to be known in terms of his experience, his education, health, insurance, and all. It is more or less like a preliminary interview only. Next is patterned or structured interview, or you can also call it as directive or structured interview. Now, this type of interview, a series of questions are phrased in advance, which are related to the uh, strategic parts of the applicant's background. And answers to these questions are compared with the critical scores and are used in determining for the one who is selected. In this interview, the standard questions are asked and they are also in the written form with the interviewer. And the order may vary, but not the phrasing of the questions. So that is a directive or structured interview. Yes, I skipped that. Or non-directive or unstructured interview. Now, in this type of interview, direct and specific questions are not asked by the interviewer. An atmosphere is created in which the candidate is free to talk on the subject selected by the interviewer. And basically here interviewer is a passive listener and he avoids making value judgments, interrupting the candidate or sharing his personal opinion. So that's a sort of an unstructured interview. Then we have in-depth interview. This generally takes happens in the field of teaching, in the field of research, where the candidate is grilled on his or her knowledge in depth. Another is the group interview, where it generally happens in the campus placement, where the people, the HR people from the organization, they come down to the campus for choosing the most suitable fresher for their job in the organization. So here, due to paucity of time, sometimes because there are 600, 700 students in the campus, so they may take the interview in a group form where 4 to 5 students are called inside and the panel is taking an interview of 4 to 5 students at the same time. So that's a group interview where there are more interviewee as compared to the interviewer. Next is a stress interview. In this type of interview, stress environment is intentionally created in the interview room. The applicant is intentionally put under the stress by interrupting him at various points, criticizing his viewpoints, and sometimes keeping silence after he has finished speaking. It requires the interviewer to be tactful as well as skillful for the stress interview. It is generally used for testing the candidates for higher level positions in the organization. And also, more or less, in the sales and marketing interview, they may undergo a stress interview to find out whether the candidate is able to handle stress or not. And the last is a panel interview, where two or more interviewers are there and one interviewee is there. So even the structured interview or unstructured interview, the in-depth interview, or maybe the stress interview might be a panel interview too, where two or three or maybe four or five interviewers are sitting and they are taking an interview for one interviewee, one candidate. So that's a panel interview. So these are the different types of interview which happens in the corporate world, and the candidate has to go through one round of interview or maybe two or three rounds of interview depending upon the organization or the job. And yes, they experience these sort of interview in the practical world. Now, these are some of the common mistakes which happens in the interview. So first is halo effect. These are certain limitations of interview, the human biasness which generally takes place. So first is halo effect. Now under this type of error, a single prominent trait or characteristic of the candidate affects the judgment of the interviewer on all over other traits. For example, the interviewer may conclude that the candidate with a pleasing personality is very intelligent and dependable, or a candidate with a poor vocal English is dull and ignorant. That might happen, so that's an halo effect. Next is leniency or harshness. Leniency implies the tendency to assign higher scores to all the candidates. It is normally associated with lack of interest in rating. And the opposite of leniency is harshness, where the tendency of the interviewer is to consistently give low scores to the candidates. Now, this may arise due to exaggerated expectations of the interviewer from the candidate. Fine. The next is projection. Now, error of projection basically arises when the interviewer expects his own characteristics or traits in a candidate. Therefore, he is likely to select candidates who resemble him in terms of appearance, mannerism, background, and qualifications, and so on. So, these are the projection error in the interview. Next is stereotyping. It occurs when the interviewer judges a candidate on the basis of the characteristics of the group to which he or she belongs. The interviewer may rate the candidate on the basis of his schooling pattern or his cultural background, religious background, and family background. So these judgments based on the group characteristics turns to be wrong in many cases. So these are stereotyping error in interview. And the next is constant error. In this type of error, it arises because the interview of the previous candidate unduly influences the interviewer in favor or against the next candidate. For example, a qualified candidate, I would say, may be underrated just because the previous candidate was very shining and brilliant and qualified. So that again is one of the error and a common mistake in interviewing. Excuse me. Now, the last thing, let's discuss some of the guidelines for effective interviewing. The interviewer should be very competent, and trained and experienced and should understand the nature and requirement of the job under consideration. Also, adequate information about the interviewee must be obtained before the interview. Privacy and sufficient time must be provided to each interviewee. Along with that, the questions to be asked must be related to the requirements of the job, and the arguments and personal remarks must be avoided at the time of interview by the interviewer. So these are some of the guidelines which we follow. It will help in making the interview effective and will be able to select the right person for the right job. So this is all about the selection, what we discussed today. And in the coming videos, I'll come out with more topics from human resource management. Thank you so much.